Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Hat Chat podcast. I'm Chris Trott.
I'm Ross Hornby.
And I'm the man formerly known as Alex Smith, who's sort of looking more like a homeless Frankie Boyle at the moment. So yeah. Oh, I just picked my nose and you just go to full screen. That's great. I'm gonna sneeze
You're
now.
talking about
Now he's sneezing. He's got a sneezing thing. This is a broken man, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
Well-
God.
This is what quarantine is doing to all of us. They're affecting all of us in different ways, but Hat Chat's here for you. Don't worry. We're here to talk about what's going on with us specifically from our perspective.
Who
But
made
really,
that fingal, Trot?
that fingal was nice, and you guys didn't hear it because I didn't set it up properly, but it's
Yeah,
a
that's
real
fine.
nice acoustic rendition of our Hat Chat and Hat Films fingal by it's by someone called
Say
Jukka
it?
Päivänen
Okay.
or
I
Jukka
would say it's a
Päivänen.
soft Yucca.
Huh?
I would say Yucca, but
say
that might
Yucca?
be wrong. I just like to say it.
Yeah, we'll say Jukka. We'll
Yucca.
soft J, that one. There's a longer version, so stick around to the end for the full rendition. That again they won't hear, but it's for us. It's for the rest of us.
Yeah.
That's what's more
We didn't need
important.
to hear it. It's fine. Well, I'll listen to it later.
Okay, sure. But yeah, welcome. We've got what's going on. What's going on, Ross?
What's going on? I mean, we are still in isolation, which has been for many weeks now. I don't even know how many days it's been, but this is still happening, and it will still be happening for some time in various different measures, and it's bizarre. But here we are. We're all doing it. Most of us are doing it. I haven't been going for picnics or meeting friends. How about you guys?
A few raves, few clubs, big drag
Yeah.
racing.
Yeah.
Roads are so clear
I went
right
to
now
a
for
kissing
speeding.
festival.
Kissing festival.
You went to a
Yeah,
kissing
the
festival?
speeding thing is really nice, and also the spit swapping festivals I've been to have been top notch this year. Like really nice.
No COVID yet, but a lot
Fingers
of kissing. A lot of kissing.
It's like a tombola.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
guys-
already,
I mean-
I won a packet of chocolate fingers in tombola. I didn't get grand prize though. Very sad.
What was grand prize?
COVID-19.
Grand prize.
It's
That's not a
swapping
prize.
festival. What do you think we're doing?
Jesus.
It's like
Christ.
positive
You're
party.
chasing.
We're chasing it.
Oh.
We're actively out there chasing it, swapping,
Can't
spit,
get hold of it.
hoping.
Everyone's staying
That was their
indoors.
worry.
Elusive.
That was one of their worries,
What?
is that people would try to get it so that they could get these potential immunity passports that were kind of drafted up as a potential option of opening things up, where people had
Yeah.
immunity passports, but then, obviously people in more desperate situations or who need to get to work could just try and get ill. And
There's
then,
something like that happening.
get it.
I can't remember which country it's happening in, but they are doing that pass thing where you have to
Oh, really?
show that your state of COVID positivity before you can enter or exit certain establishments. You
Well, like
literally
whether you're
have-
like really happy about it, just okay about it,
it's like a little smiley
hoping
face.
for
How was your service
positivity,
today?
yeah.
Kind of thing. It's like
yeah,
I'm into
you press
it
a
right
button
now.
on the way through.
Yeah, but it's literally
Yeah.
like this is your identifier now. Is your status of being COVID? You're no longer a person.
Yeah.
You're just a symptom or a post-symptom being. It's like, yes, you can come in because you are tested positive, but no longer have any symptoms, so you can come on in. Or you don't have COVID yet, shouldn't come in here. There's so many positives.
Well, yeah, I guess but yeah, I imagine more people would try to get it just to get like chickenpox parties. Did you ever have a
Yeah.
chickenpox party when you were a kid? I mean, it's a really bizarre kind of concept, but
I just
just
got it
gather
for
all
my
the kids
brother.
together.
I just got
let
it in
them all have
primary school.
Yeah.
I got it in primary school, and it was really sweet because when I got it, I stayed home, and when my dad, I think, was looking after me, and I got one of those fucking, what were they called? It's not Meccano. Oh, Playmobil. You guys remember Playmobil?
Oh yeah.
The
I really didn't like
I got a
but go
Playmobil
on.
camper van,
Hated it.
and it was dope. I got a whole camper van. I did admittedly pretend it was a spaceship, which is something
It's
that
way
I did a
cooler.
lot as a young kid, because yeah, like I like the physicality of toys and stuff, and like the ones they were getting me, but really I wanted them all to be space based and like gun based, and like I made my Sylvanian family tree that was meant to be a school into like a top secret like organization.
Sylvanian families as
You had a
well.
Sylvanian family. Or was it your sister's?
Yeah. No, it was mine. We went into a Toys R Us when I was very, very young, and they were like, "What would you like? You can get an item." And I, for some reason, picked a Sylvanian family's tree. Let me see if I can.
Are they little felt rabbits, aren't they, or something? Are they?
Yeah,
Mice?
yeah. It was really cool.
Treehouse. Is it Treehouse?
It was. I'm just finding it now. It wasn't the treehouse. It was more advanced than the treehouse. Yeah, nah, better than that.
How old were you at the time? I didn't catch the age.
Fuck knows, young man. I can remember when I was like 2 or 3 years old. So like, it's hard to pick it out.
I think that's impressive.
Yeah, I remember living in Bath when I was a toddler. It's really weird. Obviously only like glimpses of it, not like everyday life. Like, I've shit myself again.
That's a good point.
Like. Yeah, I got a pretty good memory for stuff.
Are they kind of
that.
just a hodgepodge of kind of random memories of things that happened, or is it kind of like quite clear? Because I have various little memories of my dad used to travel Europe for his job, where we'd be in Germany and stuff, occasionally Sweden. But I remember specifically being in Germany, and this probably is why I really enjoyed it when it came back into the UK. But I remember my first Kinder bar.
Right.
And I was like 5.
A momentous occasion for Ross.
I mean, that's a big.
And I was like, that's literally just
one.
from literally. I was in Germany. I was in a lift with my dad, and I had one of those little candy bars. And that's the only memory I have. I have no other memory of being 5.
That was your first memory.
Then? 5.
Kinder Bueno.
4 or 5. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Kinder Bueno literally started your memories.
In a way.
That's the beginning. The first thing. As a conscious
my first
being,
neuron connection.
The first thing is. Oh man, the first thing I remember is when I was living in the city I was born, which was only the first few years of my life. I think we left when I was like 3 years old. I remember being in this grey like jumpsuit thing, that they put like toddlers and babies in. Like it was winter, so it was like this. It basically looked like a ski suit. You like zip open the back and then you stick the toddler in it and then put their arms through and then zip it up again. But it was like a snowsuit thing, and we were wandering around a park in Bath, like the main park there, and there was a fountain, like a big park fountain that had sitting water in the bottom, and I just fucking stuck my hand in it, and I remember the cold water going up inside the sleeve, and like ever since then I hate that feeling of like getting water inside your sleeves. Like it's such I
think everyone hates
an invasion of right. Like
this is my comfort
it's like exactly. It like so maybe that was why. Maybe it's like a common thing for people to feel like that, and that sort of was a trauma. But it went up inside my thing, and I just remember that and thinking, fuck, okay, I won't do that again.
You learn.
Yeah, that's probably my earliest. Still trying to find this fucking thing I had.
In our dry suits. Remember when we went scuba diving? I had a little leak, and in my dry suit, it was just soaked.
Felt so wrong.
Oh, that's so uncomfortable and shit.
Yeah, very much like that.
I've got 2 first memories. I can't remember which order they are in, but the first one was like pre-school, so nursery. I had a friend. I remember his name was Paul, and we used to literally crawl around on our hands and knees pretending to be dogs and barking at people.
Fuck.
Nice. That's interesting.
You're
literally regressing.
How old do you think you were?
I was pre-primary school, so it's like 3.
Fuck. Yeah.
3, 4.
Oh,
20.
I found the thing I had.
And the other one was there was a builder around our house, and they were redoing the flooring. I remember because I was really confused why the floor was now all cement and all churned up and messed up. But I remember wearing a nappy and being of an age where I was now embarrassed of wearing a nappy. And I was trying to swan past the builder, acting cool, without trying to make a crinkling sound with my nappy. Him noticing that I'm wearing a nappy. I'm like, I'm just an adult like you, sir. Here, I just wish to go to the kitchen and I'm just pretending not to have a nappy. I'm like you, I wear underwear now. But then it crinkled.
So when you're remembering that specific thing, are you first person viewing it, or are you almost? Sometimes I kind of imagine it from outside my own body. Do you know what I mean? As in, I remember the scenario and I kind of build up the scene.
It. Yeah. Mine's more first person-ish, but it's more like a slideshow of hazy images, rather than it's like fleeting seconds of, rather than like a full play out of the whole scene. It's like you get a little snapshot of what the feeling and the atmosphere was like at the time, and you hear the crinkle of the nappy and the the feeling that my guard's down. He thinks I'm a child. I'm an adult.
I'm a cool dude.
I'm a cool guy.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, and I don't wear nappies, and I haven't shit myself out of fear.
I linked the thing I had in the vMix chat.
Thank you.
So apparently the thing I had was Calico Critters, which is the American version of Sylvanian Families. But is
that because your
came
dad
out
was
in
in
1985?
America? At one point.
Yeah. So it might have been that they came back from the States because it was.
Sorry, mate. You said this is way better. It's this naff.
It does look worse, doesn't it?
He was a small child.
You remember Yeah, but I remember. I don't think this is exactly the one, but it was very much like this. It was like It had swing out tears on it. This is a vintage collectible toy now, Trott. How dare you?
I can just picture the texture of that little rabbit thing having like a hard shell, but that little fuzzy material on top of it. I hate that.
Little velvety.
I hate those little velvet things.
Dogs love them though. Dogs love chewing them because they're like hard enough. That dogs,
oh my God.
And they feel like they're crushing the skull of like a small mouse, which is probably very enjoyable.
I remember my cousin collected shitloads and just had a load of them in her room, just like all over on the shelves and stuff. It was just kind of creepy. And then she got into trolls. Remember trolls?
Yeah, I didn't. Like
Not
trolls.
the current trolls, but the older trolls, where they
old
actually look
ones,
kind of freaky and quite disgusting, like goblins with spiky hair.
They're horrible, and you get little combs for them. It's fucking weird. Do you remember your first?
Trott, what was Trott? You recently bought a load of Action Men, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Have you like cleaned them up or set them up anywhere? Or
They're in the
like
office, so no.
Oh fuck yeah, of course.
I bought them with an intention of doing some sort of nostalgia, revisiting our childhood thing, because it was only like a tenner for like a huge box of Action Men, which I thought bargain. Realized that they stink of cigarettes and stuff like that. That's why they're throwing them away, and some of the costumes are a bit torn up and chewed and stuff. It's like, ugh. Not that interested.
If anything, you could just do a restoration of each one.
I could,
like a Toy Story.
Yeah, just go through that scene.
Meticulously painting their eyes.
All those tiny tools. Yeah, I'd love to do that. But
what about like
that did make me, when I saw that scene, that was like, I was like, oh shit, that'd be actually really satisfying to do. It's just re-gloss over the eyes and just touch up the paint and
that's my job. My dream job.
Like Trott, with the whole Sylvanian Families things, it is essentially Animal Crossing in real life. Sylvanian Families.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't like Animal Crossing because of this childhood memory.
Well, because the thing is, I didn't like Sylvanian Families because of Sylvanian Families. I liked it at the time as a toy because it was something I could imagine was something else. Like, it was just a complex object rather than like, I'm really attached to the idea of a mouse rabbit thing making a home inside a building. I don't give a fuck about that. It was more like, this is like some sort of secret base, you know?
Whereas I was literally pretending to be a dog at the same age.
Yeah.
So,
and hiding the fact that you've shit yourself from tradesmen.
Hello, fellow tradesmen.
Which you still do to this day.
Yeah.
I didn't shit myself. It's an adult diaper.
Do you remember your first nightmare? Because some people vividly remember the first nightmare they've had, or at least an early nightmare. Because I do. And I've got reoccurring nightmares.
2020.
Is it a premonition, or is it just you're just?
It just feels like I'm in one now.
All right.
Everywhere I look, there's something I don't like.
My one was weird. If this might help, you might have had a similar nightmare. Who knows? But all I can picture is one image. Imagine like a real close-up on a fireplace, and you just see the flames in the background, slightly blurry, and in the foreground is those little green army men, like silhouetted by the fire in the background, slowly melting. Fucking weird. That was my first nightmare.
Wasn't that a scene from Toy Story? Doesn't
Maybe.
Sid torture? He tortures toys by melting them with a magnifying glass.
He
Maybe,
does.
but
I
that's
think
not really
so,
the same. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Maybe
it's
that was
pretty
a fragment
common.
of your memory. I mean,
Maybe you had a
Toy Story was
pre-cognitive
1995,
experience of a
right?
future
So-
Pixar film.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like,
But I'm pretty sure I had this before Toy Story happened.
that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe you imagined the first successful Pixar film.
Maybe it's true. Or maybe they're just tapping into the whole childhood ethos, and they've got a real good idea of what kids do and think and worry about.
Jesus.
Have you also got
I
memories?
remember having a night. Sorry.
Do you have memories which you think may not be true or may have been altered by the passage of time? Like, I'm not sure if this actually happened or not.
Oh yeah.
Loads,
definitely.
yeah. I think that's the thing when you're like, for example, if you look at a photograph of an event, your last memories of you don't they say the last memories of you thinking of that rather than the actual
Yeah, it's you recalling
Raw.
it, I guess.
recollection of it. You're remembering the last time you remembered that memory.
It's
As
interesting
bizarre as that sounds.
because they were.
So
Well,
therefore-
there's all sorts of studies. There's all sorts of studies that have shown that like memory and recall is completely like unreliable in terms of like how you like you can't trust it. Yeah, if you think that you aren't changing your memories when you recall them, or if you like you're wrong. Like we all do it. We all fuck up. But like there's endless studies about like people misremembering things, particularly in criminal cases. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
That's
reliable.
where the danger is with obviously unreliable witness reports and stuff like that. But yeah, there was a little documentary, I can't remember what it was called, about memory, and it was like 9/11 witness reports and accounts. And there was a person that was a kid at the time saying that they have such a vivid memory of it happening, the actual collapse.
Oh yeah.
And they saw it
Yeah.
out of their window at school or something like that, and they saw the smoke going past. But they actually did the math, and geographically, that person could not have seen that happening outside the window of the school they said they were in. Like they were completely in a different place. So whether they saw it on a news report and kind of merged those memories together or something like that, but that just genuinely didn't happen for them. It's interesting.
Well, considering on the day, like you're bombarded with thousands of images of the same thing from various angles, various reports on it, and like you would get confused as to how you saw that thing. Because I mean, when I heard about it, I was in a queue for a bus. We're about to go home. It's about 20 past 4, and it only just happened. And so all I heard was a teacher saying, "Oh, something like really horrendous has happened in America." They had no specifics on it. When I got home, flicked on the TV, and then it was on every single channel. And that's my memory of it. Like,
Yeah, I remember seeing
yeah.
the same thing. It's like you heard little bits at school, and then you came home to seeing like the second one or being reported on or something like that. Yeah, it was fucking weird. Creepy.
it's weird because I feel like that's on par with like such an extreme event as in kind of this event in terms of like crazy shit happening. However, I don't think this is necessarily a time I can be like, I remember when I first heard of this, because I heard about COVID and stuff happening in January. So like it's kind of slow emergence, I guess, in terms of how people treated it. Isn't in the same kind of recollection for me. I couldn't go, oh, I remember this specific day or what I was doing. But it's equally a crazy disaster in that sense. So it's quite weird because I also remember, do you remember when Diana died or like Diana's funeral?
Yeah, I remember that vividly. But
Where you
again,
were?
it might not be so accurate, but I remember waking up first, going downstairs, turning on the TV, and then the news report being all over the news. And I was starting to, I felt that panic setting in. It's like, this seems really important. And there is like a royal family member that's just been killed or has had a car crash or something. And I went and woke up my mum about it because I was worrying about it. I remember that memory quite vividly. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
I was wearing a nappy at the time. I remember.
you were strutting around with an nappy.
I remember it happening. I love that your reaction was to get up and like, I'm worried somebody's died. When I found out about it, I remember coming down into the living room. My dad's like, Princess Diana's died. Car hit a bridge. And I was like, fucking hell. Shit. And then that was like it. I was like, oh. All right.
Sylvanian families.
And the only reason
Back to these fucking wacky Sylvanian families I've got set up as a spy network.
Back to the treehouse.
Tell me when something fucking interesting's happening.
Yeah. The only reason I remember the funeral more than the actual death was because the day of the funeral
right.
Was like, I think it was like a day after my birthday or something, and I got a Scalextric, and I was like, fucking Scalextric, because that's badass. I had one which like 2 loop-the-loops, which is incredible for a Scalextric. So I was like, yes, this is amazing, what a gift.
Damn.
But both my brothers were fighting over it, and they broke it the day after I got it. And so, and it happened like as my parents were like, watching the funeral stuff. I wasn't like necessarily watching it because it's quite morbid for a kid to watch. And that was my memory. I was like, "What are you doing, Mum? They're breaking my shit in that room." They're like, "There's a funeral on." Jesus. That's how I remember it through my personal trauma.
I think,
of course.
I think that like I wonder if like we all have a sibling trauma like that. Like a couple of different ones for me. I'll skirt over the first two because those ones I don't really care about. I cut my sister's hair as a child when I was about 7, and my sister must have been about 4 or 5.
In an act of aggression, or
no. She wanted me to cut her hair, so I just cut her hair with like some like household scissors, and completely fucked it. Like, looked ridiculous. She looked like someone from Deantwood.
Oh my god.
And the second time, which is the one I told you about, was when I almost accidentally stabbed my brother with a steak knife. But the third time was the one that really pissed me off. Well, I almost stabbed. The blade didn't go in, even though it hit with enough impact. You would have thought it would have done. I didn't mean to, but I hit him with it, and I was like, shit, that was definitely hard enough to actually hurt somebody. And I'm like, you were right. He's like, what are you doing? Anyway, the third one was the one, the real sibling trauma, similar to yours, Ross, in that when Harry Potter was coming out, I didn't know shit about it, and I think my mum or someone was at like some like book club thing or something, you know, like a school book club where like the school gets a load of books in and like they can buy them for kids or whatever. She bought me the first Harry Potter book when it was sort of starting to get like half decent, and it was a first edition Philosopher's Stone book, and it's now worth about 700 quid. And I didn't
right?
I didn't want my sister to take it into school, so I read it. I loved it. It was about 3 books in by this point, and I had 3 of the books, and I was like, yeah. My sister's like, oh, we need to take a book into school to read, and I'm like, no, you can't take the Harry Potter book. And my mum's like, oh, don't be ridiculous, Alex, let her take it. And I'm like, no, she will not take it. It's like, she's gonna lose it, she's not even gonna read it, and like all this sort of stuff. And she took it into school because my mum overruled me, and she lost it and never saw it again. So my first edition Philosopher's Stone just
you
gone,
were right.
and I was just like,
oh man.
First
edition,
and that
well,
pretty much led to me
impressive.
being a pain in the ass to my sister for the rest of her life. Go on, go for it.
God.
What were you saying, Ross?
Well, pretty much my parents leading on from that, my parents were always like, you're always going on your sister. Stop always going on your sister. I'm like, every time. She lost my first edition. I can't trust her with anything. You know, like straight away. Like, anyway,
I can't believe she let you cut her hair as well. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I remember I cut my hair very well. Like as a young child, I think I was annoyed with my hair or something, and I decided to trim a little bit. And then my mum was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was, oh, don't worry, I trimmed to the root. Is what I remember specifically saying that, and she going, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, sure, okay, and then so there's a little patch just on the corner where I
trimmed to the root.
Trimmed to the root. What?
Yeah, as if that was like what you were supposed to do. Zero logic
weird.
there.
What?
So there you go.
What's trimmed to the root mean in your mind?
Or cutting it to the skin, like basically to the skin. So where like,
Don't worry.
so it's like a big chunk of hair. I was like, oh no, don't worry, I cut it to the root. It's fine. As if that was like my goal, even though I had slightly longer hair. So it's like, what? You just have end up little patch
well-
with. I don't know, I must have been like 8 or 9, I think. Yeah.
I love how
I'm trimmed to the root.
You're so sure of yourself as a young kid. You think you got fucking everything sorted out. It's like, don't worry about this shit. I know exactly what I'm doing. When you become a teenager, you become such an egotistical asshole. I don't know if you guys ever felt that, but you felt like, I already know fucking everything, and my parents are idiots, and that kind of shit.
Well, in terms of like just being a stroppy teenager, I think everyone has
Felt like
those
a bit
moments.
of a know-it-all and attitude, and it's like, I've figured this shit out now. Like, why are you guys struggling so much with your parenting and mortgages and stuff like that? It's like, I'm fine, and my education's going really well. And I just remember being slightly I never said that, but internally I felt like, what is this? Isn't so hard. Like, school isn't so bad, etc., etc. You know. Apart from
You
know,
did have those really badass fingerless leather gloves as well, which probably made your cool.
That was
factor even
college.
higher.
So that was like top tier.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Wait. Was there a period of time where you were wearing fingerless leather gloves unironically?
Yeah, there was a picture of me taken in Cafe Nero with a hot chocolate with some whipped cream on it, so I was proper hipster. And I had like a horrible jacket on, fingerless leather gloves, and also worse bleach hair than this. But I bleached my hair back then as well, and I just looked like an absolute amazing person. That was fantastic, and I look forward to going back to that style at some point. Moments away. I've got the bleach hair back, so just need the gloves.
How different was it? Because I remember seeing your passport photo, and it was like a different guy. Because obviously you had like your own custom. I mean, it's not too far off of what it's just not professionally done in comparison.
You don't know what is professionally done until you get it done, I think. And also back then there was no such thing as like offsetting the color of yellow with this purple thing and like color theory and shit being applied to hairdressing. At least the hairdresser I went to, it was like, yeah, we'll get some tin foil, put on your head, and then poke a couple of holes in it, bring them through. And then we got Domestos over there, so we'll just put that on. No, it was proper bleach, I think. But still, it felt very rudimentary in comparison.
I've bleached my hair a couple of times, and it was the same kind of thing. But like, the logic was so stupid. So we would pull the hair through, like you were saying, Trott. We'd make like a silver tinfoil mesh. Maybe that's where I love the hat so much. A tinfoil hat, essentially. And you poke little holes in it, you drag it through. And like we were doing this when we were like 14. So we'd bleach the hair, and then you do another one, and then you do another one. You're like, perfect, I'm going to have all these little frosted tips. But then you take the thing off, and because you've done so many of them, it just blends into one large block of yellow on the top of your head, and you're just like, fuck. You know?
Yeah, you learn the hard way about how
it's not easy.
Like
when a lot of people are doing it now, though, as like at home. They're either cutting their own hair or bleaching it just to see what it looks like, or dyeing it a color they would never normally dye it because no one has to see them.
No one gives a shit.
Best time to experiment.
You're at home.
Really.
I'm thinking of shaving all my beard off because A, it's annoying, and B, I don't really have to go anywhere, so I don't have to worry too much. Apart from being on streams and facing the
you're on camera 3 hours a day. Yeah,
brutal honesty of our audience, but
the harsh bullying from anonymous strangers.
But
Trott, if you're going to do your beard, you might as well do your eyebrows as well.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of just doing a haircut as well. Just get the whole works, whole indoor works. YouTube tutorials will see me through, right? That'll be fine.
Are you going to shave off all of your hair?
Not shave.
You're going to Britney it?
No, do a trim, try and do a good trim, or at least get my girlfriend to do it because I can't do the back.
I reckon you would suit a skinhead. Bizarrely, some people can.
You're right. I don't think you're right.
Have you ever had a skinhead?
I think I think you really suit a skinhead.
To be fair, you've always had kind of a fringe, like when I've seen you. So I haven't really seen your full head necessarily, or shape of
Trott, I think you'd suit a skin face.
Skin face,
where you just take all the hair off your face,
the
eyebrows,
the whole
beard, mustache,
no hair,
or just a skin face.
Yeah, I think that would look great. Well, don't forget, Ross, I'm my height, which is very average. For a man, I just want to remark that it's average, not below average, definitely average. And I've got literally the same size head as Smith in diameter.
So you don't think you'd suit it? That's fair enough. I mean, you do have to suit it. I think definitely. My friend Lawrence, you know him. He shaved his head completely the other day.
Yeah.
And yes, it does have neo-Nazi vibes, but he suits. he can still pull it off, and that's fine. But I feel like if I did it, I would look definitely like just Hitler Youth. I think it would just be brushing along that realm of
It's
me.
interesting how your
I wouldn't want to
connection
reach for
with
any
that
top shelves. is all I'm
hairstyle.
saying.
Yeah. It's directly correlated with neo-Nazism.
Well, annoyingly that has been ingrained.
You need
into
more tattoos for that, I think.
the media I've seen. Yeah, maybe a few more tattoos, but
And
it looks like a stepping
clothing.
stone.
What if all
Clothing.
of us? What if we made a pact to shave our heads together, guys?
Jesus
Some form
Christ.
of some form of
The egghead
donation
crew.
goal or something where we all just shave our
Just
head.
shave our heads, yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that would
God,
be ridiculous.
I don't know.
I'd only do it if both of you did it. I wouldn't ever do it otherwise.
Fuck, I don't know. Jesus, I really
I think
couldn't pull it off.
I'm
I
interested,
look
but
I'd look ill.
a
be
million
honest.
subs.
More people would
if
just.
we hit a
look
million
ill.
subs on our main YouTube channel, then we'll
Million
shave our
subs,
head
we'll
as a
shave our head.
celebration.
Fuck me, man. That would
Fine.
be horrifying.
I just know how long
think.
it takes to grow back hair because I've literally witnessed my girlfriend do it very recently, and for her to get to the stage of length that's kind of just shorter than mine right now,
almost shoulder. Yeah.
it took so fucking long. And you'd have to go through all that awkward part of it's not long enough to do anything with it, and you wake up and it's all in different fucking places, shit like that.
Just wear a fucking
Christ.
hat. Just wear a hat.
I don't
This is
do
the thing.
that.
Maybe I'll.
But with that in mind,
don't
I am
see that.
surprised more people are cutting their hair off because this is the best time to experiment with longer hair.
Yeah,
surely
trying it out.
You can get past that awkward stage if you wanted to. You could.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like growing it.
It is
more of a
annoying though.
It gets
annoying
it
thing.
everywhere.
Like,
Yeah.
so
I think
I
people
had a
just want
dream last
comfort right
night.
now.
There we go. Is
This
the
leads on quite well to the dream
yeah.
story that I'm
Hold
sure
on.
everyone's excited to hear. But
Yeah,
it was
I'm ready
a
for the
super
dream.
simple. It's a super simple story. It's not a particularly complex dream. I just had dreamt that I'd woken up from my dream, and it was a regular day like now. But somebody had shaved me in my sleep, so they'd shaved my beard off, and it was just my beard. And I remember putting my hand up to it, and it's all shaved, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Who shaved me in my sleep? And I was really mad about it, and I was like, who does that? And I was like, I've been working on that beard for fucking ages, and yes, it is really annoying, but I don't want somebody to shave it in my sleep because I want to shave it myself because that's fun.
satisfaction.
And but I would happily shave this off if it wasn't a project like you're saying about a lockdown project, because I am interested to see, because another thing is when it's styled properly by a barber, it looks a lot better. And so right now what's happening is it's just growing out in equal length and just kind of looks a bit shit. And it's I go out cycling and I've got my helmet on strapped around the bottom of this, and it's just this mad lunatic with this giant ginger beard, I just look terrible.
I think
It's
the
just
difference between
oh my
something
God.
looking good and not looking good is it looking intentional or not. Whereas if you're just letting your hair
Yeah.
grow out, it doesn't look intentional. It just looks like you
Exactly.
just stop caring.
I look like I live under a bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, but some people pull that off, I guess. But I
also
don't.
just the
Yeah.
invasion of someone shaving you while you sleep. That's a horrifying thing. Remember Jackass when they
a
used
good
to just
dream.
kind of get a razor and then just chase them and then just take off some of that.
Yeah.
all it
Holy
takes.
shit, that would be so fucking scary.
You can't react quick enough to stop it. It's
No.
happened, and then you have to
And then it's
shave
well,
everything
now I've
else
got to go to
off.
the fucking hairdresser. Thank you.
Yeah, I did that the other day. I was like, oh fuck, I forgot to put the little guard on my beard shaver, and it just went right down the middle. I was like, okay, and that's why I ended up with the sides gone. Which is it happens.
I think sometimes it's
Yeah. So
Humes did that, didn't he? Where he
He did,
accidentally shaved or something and he's just oh fuck it, and then just went completely off.
whole
And it's
clean shaven.
it is surprising the difference it makes when you have a complete shave.
Humes
from,
is a completely different guy shaved than when he is
Yeah.
not. It's amazing how it changes the shape of his face and how beards. That's why I'm terrified of shaving now, because people have gotten used to me having a beard, and then I'm gonna look like a kid with a nappy again, and that's gonna send me back dramatically.
Well, shit, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't
Fucking nappy
too long
thing,
ago when I
man.
shaved, really.
There's some deep-seated trauma in there somewhere. I'm telling you right now. Like you're anally
I'm fine.
retentive. I think.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
There's no issues here.
Okay.
No, I got them sorted. But if I see nappies, no, I won't go into it.
If I see nappies.
It's terrifying. But yeah, I might shave.
Does well, hold on, Trott. You know how we had this whole thing about how you blocked the toilet because you were using wet wipes as a wipe? Do you think that there's a link between you being fastidious with keeping your asshole clean? So Freud would love this shit. All right, you being fastidious with keeping your asshole clean above and beyond what most people would consider a normal level of asshole regulation.
Yeah.
And this deep-seated memory of you having to act like everything's fine when in reality your trousers are full of shit. Like, do you think that there's a link there?
Absolutely not. No, I think you're trying to create links, Alex Smith. This is what conspiracy theorists and tinfoil
I feel like
hat
there's a
theorists
link there,
do.
Trott.
Why would me having the cleanest asshole ever correlate with my fear of being caught with a nappy?
Because you had a dirty asshole, you had an ass full of shit, and being anally retentive. So you know the term. You stop being anal about this. Something that comes from I think it's a Freudian idea of anal retentiveness, or basically. Might just be medical, might not be Freudian, but some kids, some babies are anally retentive in that they don't shit properly. They don't shit enough. They don't like shitting. They don't like the feeling of having shit in their nappy, which is perfectly fair. But do you think that there's a relationship there between that and your ongoing fascination with a clean asshole?
Are you quite clean at home?
I'm pretty clean at home, yeah. I think what it comes down to, Alex, if this is really if you need the answer to this, you have stated in the past that it doesn't take you much to clean your butt because you don't have much of a thick forest thicket bush down there to clean, whereas I feel like I have to put extra fucking work in to get it to the same cleanliness because I have the thickest jungle of matted hair down there.
Have you considered shaving that? Well, because maybe that would slide. Maybe it would slide out easier.
I don't trust myself with mirrors and razors.
Sack, crack, and back. Also, Trott, would you have a sack, back, and crack if given the option? And secondly, there's only one way to know who has the hairiest arsehole, Trott. That's for me and you to exchange pictures of arseholes. And I'm totally down for that.
Sure.
Because it's medical. It's a medical fascination, not anything else.
The worry
it's funny you say
Trott,
taking pictures of your asshole. Running off of that thought for a second.
Nice.
The amount of people who are probably like sexting more in this kind of isolation times is probably quite high, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on people's phones, there's probably more pictures of their own genitals and or body. What percentage of people do you think have accidentally sent any of those pictures to the family group chat?
Oh, there's a stat.
Well, I mean, there must be some fuck who accidentally sent.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll send Gran this funny picture. Oh no!
It's
shit.
so easily done, though. But not that specifically, but like just with WhatsApp in particular, just responding to the wrong group chat is so easy for me to do sometimes. So yeah, I reckon a good percentage. I reckon
even then, it's not necessarily just a case that you're in the right group chat, you know where you are. But then your finger slips and you've got the grid of all the images.
Yeah.
And the image below the cute little dog you were going to send is your big ding dong. and then suddenly your whole family's just got a shot and you're like, oh, that's not... fuck, delete. And then it's all saved in their phones.
Seen by Auntie June.
Try and pass it off as something else. Try and pass it off as something else really quick. Like, weird, look at this weird dog.
Look at this funny cock. Like, is that your bedroom? I know that house. Black plants. I've seen that.
Not my cock. It's another guy's cock. What's another guy doing in your bedroom with a
Stop sending your
wearing your
dick
pajamas?
Bloody weirdo.
Oh my god. Well, I think that it's really important to understand that with the increase in use of COVID contact tracing apps, these things using like the Nintendo Switch walk-by system of Bluetooth location-based stuff. We need to ask whether or not our government is actually using that app to steal all our nudes and use it as a complex system of blackmail and control as we go forward. You know,
I don't know where my tinfoil is.
Forward, these advanced mappings of our bodies and our intimate areas are then going to be used to print and replicate versions of ourselves, which will be put in place by our government to create a functioning drone civilization where they could just replace us and use us for food to fill the power of the generators that are making these sort of drone clones. Have we thought about that?
Right, okay.
Now I am worrying about that.
I am very concerned. I mean, I'm more worried about Facebook video calling devices, which are now like I've seen adverts for those bad boys, where they're trying to replace Alexas and stuff with just now you can just call your gran from anywhere. Just send a live dick pic if you want. Sure, just press a button, just ask it. And it's there. There's a little video machine. This little photo frame.
Hold down. This is a live photo. It's a live photo. Hold it down.
It's got your body.
Oh yeah, it would. And we all know.
I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
The face tracking on your phone.
Yeah.
That could be it.
Honestly, if Big Billy Bill at Amazon headquarters really badly wants an audio transcription of me masturbating, they can have it. Like, I don't know what they're going to be using it for, but like, you know, like, yes, we've got him. Like, what are you going to do with that information? You know, like,
is that the sound that you'd be making? Why does it sound so exhausting?
Yes. Feverishly.
I know they're listening, so I'm going to fucking indulge myself.
Oh. Well, we also know that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's it. Just only give them the things that no one would ever want. That's the strategy.
I
mean, make everything repulsive.
Every aspect of what we're doing is being followed.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Everything you look on Google is being followed. Everything you say to your Alexa or Google is being followed.
Mm-hmm.
CCTV, walking down the road, you're being followed. It's unavoidable. So this contact tracing thing is worry in one aspect, but then it's also just amongst all the others, all the other apps that exist and hardware we put in our own homes. Is it any different other than trying to save more lives potentially?
Yeah, I mean, who really fucking cares where you are at the moment, really?
I think it is important they have robust privacy stuff set in. Like, we can't just let a government just speed an app out without any oversight or legal analysis. Like, because that is literally how you give up. That's how you give up liberties in societies. When these quick decisions get made, or these wartime decisions get made. Not saying this is a wartime. Leaders are calling this wartime because then it means as though the enemy is evil and vindictive, and it's not their failures; it's the enemy's successes that are causing the loss. When in reality, this isn't a wartime situation. This is a disease, and governments are failing us. Like, but yeah, like it's considerations like this that have to be made in these difficult times, I guess. But you're right. I think
I'm trying to look at like the genuine dangers of them knowing your location and data and the images and what you look like what can be utilized. I want to know what could be done with that sort of data.
So they're saying, a lot of these apps are saying that they will only ever track the incidences and store the incidences where your phone has been in the proximity of a user who has been tested positive for COVID-19. So like, it won't track your position. It will simply go, this person has had a contact at some point with this person. However, it's not too complicated to extrapolate much more data from that data. If you know what I mean? Like it's almost like this is kind of like tags, like meta tags of like, well, this person was near this person. Well, if we look at this bit of data, we can see that this person was here. So we can say that that person is here at this point. And if you just use a computer to cross-reference this information, you can create a fairly accurate kind of Marauder's map. And
so what's the danger with that?
It's mainly just privacy, isn't it? It's just in terms of like you're being watched at all times and you can be tracked. Therefore, you don't really have the same freedom otherwise.
But what are you
as
doing
in like
that?
Well, this is the thing. Obviously,
that makes that
the argument
danger.
would be: are you doing something insidious, which means that you should be followed and therefore stopped, or is it a case that your relationship's breaking down and you've been having an affair and that's been, I don't know, who knows?
It's essentially, it boils down to the age-old statement: nothing to hide, nothing to fear, which it really depends on where you come down on your opinion of what a government should be. If you believe in that, then strictly speaking, you could believe in an authoritative state, like as in something that nothing to hide, nothing to fear. I'm abiding by the rules, so I'm not in trouble. But like nothing to hide, nothing to fear usually is a mantra that leads to destruction of concepts of liberty, and like, you know, like, okay, right now you've got nothing to hide, but what if the rules change further down the road and you've already given them access to your location, or you've given them access to this information? When those rules change down the line, suddenly you are the person that you're looking for, and now you can't hide. Like it basically is just never a good principle to go on. Nothing to hide, nothing to fear, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinion.
I think the important thing there is if the rules shift from the initial thing that you bought into and thought was okay, if that then changes retroactively and then you suddenly become incriminated as a result of it. That makes sense. And can be. And
people are the kind of people to go like, oh no, there's nothing. I've done nothing wrong. Are usually the kind of people that like probably do some things that are pretty fucked up, but at the moment it seemed as normal, you know. Like, I don't know, I've never heard a person go like, well, I've not done anything wrong, and that person has been a paragon of society. I don't know about you guys, but you know, the kind of people like fucking I don't know. But anyway,
it could be also it's almost like if they got caught speeding, for example, or whatever, like, even though it's not necessarily, you know, the worst crime in the world, but, you know, if that was stricter, they probably, you know, complain more. They go, oh, there's another speeding camera on the road. It's like, it's for your safety. And obviously, if you don't speed, do you? Of course, you would never speed. Obviously, that's a mild thing, but it's just an example. I guess.
The other thing to consider with things like speeding is, as a road user, you tacitly consent to the rules of the road. Like, whilst you don't necessarily consent to a government you voted for doing something as extreme as tracking your every position. And I know that's not what contact tracing apps necessarily do, but I don't know. I 100%. So like, as a person who loves tech and information and the power of that information, though, like, it's an awesome idea from a purely, if you could 100% trust the people using that information, fantastic. It's a philosopher's king's concept. If you have the ultimate ruler, then yes, of course. Like, it's like why certain countries in authoritative states where it's pretty much like whatever the government says you do, it can have pretty good effects. Like, because everyone does the same thing at once, and it's a very direct lane of power. It's very quick because there's very little bureaucracy on the way there. That is an advantage of an authoritative way of governing. But I just don't think you can trust people like Boris Johnson to care about your information and not use it insidiously. The bastard's a psychopath. Like,
well, this is the thing, and
all these power-hungry megalomaniacs running the world right now cannot be trusted. They really can't.
Yeah,
like individuals.
Well, the thing is,
in society, sure, but
when you start a conversation or a phone call on WhatsApp, it'll say something like end-to-end encryption, right? What verification do you have that is true? Really?
Exactly.
As an average user, you're not a software technician. You just have to believe. That no one else is listening on that call, no one else has access to that call, or they're saved it anywhere. You just have to accept that these software developers and whatever have been like, we can't see it, it's not been stored anywhere, and that's it. But they could just switch a button and change that, right? That's the danger of it.
I feel like if we follow this line of thinking, we could end up being that conspiracy podcast where you can't trust anything anymore and nothing's safe.
Yeah, definitely.
But
then obviously we're still using those formats. I mean, I've got an Alexa and a fucking Google Home thing, or whatever it is.
That's the thing.
And it's just like
stop using it.
But I've got nothing to hide, Trott. So
I do. And I'm worried now. Is Alexa the safer one or Google? Because
which one's going to be
that
more
camera
meticulous?
could have seen. Though I do appreciate.
You guys should watch this series on. It's only a couple of episodes. It's on BBC 4. It's on iPlayer. It's called The Secrets of Silicon Valley, and the first episode examines the cult-like status and the idea of like where Silicon Valley is going in terms of there's the idea of disruption and disrupting the norms of like societies and governments and things like that by creating a solution that's so powerful and effective that of course people would use it and fuck everything else. So like how a lot of companies like Airbnb and Uber and things like that have gone into countries like, for example, Uber in India completely like destroyed the taxi economy there because of the way Uber worked. And Uber basically let in originally they were like, you can earn like $1,000 a month or whatever, which is really good money for these taxi drivers. And loads of people started joining and they were making that money, but then Uber didn't control the number of drivers it had registered on their service. So just like YouTube ad revenue, the more drivers that come in, the more that money is spread out. So everybody gets a smaller piece of the pie. And now everyone's attached to Uber because everyone's using it, but nobody's making enough money out of it because of Uber's pricing models. And the way that the show Secrets of Silicon Valley demonstrated that, they were saying like, shit just has to change. Like a company they'll just say like, diversify or die. And it's like, well, you can see these massive impacts you're having on these places, right? And they're like, I mean, like, it's kind of like what we do. And the second one goes into...
But in capitalism, I guess their argument would be that's not their problem.
Yeah, to an extent. But then again, they also have this like really cult-like mentality of like all big tech companies are actually out there to change the world, and they've all got these inspiring moral missions, But it's a really interesting take on that kind of thing. But I would very much recommend having a look at it.
And ultimately, it's also something that the average person has zero say in and or control of. So it's just like if these apps and stuff are being owned by all these other companies.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big theme of the show, like this pivot from like people electing governments, which then help them run their lives, to apps and technologies literally just dictating it, and dictating that change without any kind of oversight, any kind of election. Really interesting.
It's interesting. It's worrying and interesting.
Yeah, you get to make
because
your
you can
own.
make shit like that. Yeah, exactly.
With no repercussions. Yeah, I think.
Shall I see if we got any funny news?
Yeah. Let's dig ourselves out of this.
Well, this isn't funny news. I think you mentioned this the other day. Although I think you said Tom Hanks, but apparently NASA and Tom Cruise are in talks to potentially shoot a movie in space.
Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah,
I didn't say Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it was Tom Cruise.
Did you say Tom Cruise? I thought you said Tom Hanks. No, Tom Hanks would be also equally cool to do that, but maybe it's a bit of a huge risk. But apparently, they're in talks to try and make a film in space, which is something apparently the entertainment industry has been trying to do for a while, as it's quite an interesting, obviously, avenue to go down, but probably extremely hard to really organize. When you consider how like what's involved in a film set on Earth, doing that in space must be a million times harder.
I imagine it'll be like Moonraker, like looking. You know, like with Moonraker, the Bond suit. Like, I feel like they'll have a few shots of. I mean, you've seen like what's the one with Sandra Bullock in it?
Gravity.
Yeah,
where they're
Gravity.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, like the stuff that can be done now is absolutely like they don't really even need to go to space. In fact, I assume most special effects companies would be like, "Why are you bothering going to space? We can make it look better
Definitely
here."
not. It's more of just for the name, isn't it?
There's been many films.
I reckon that would be
the
next.
I can't recall one that's been made in space.
Mission Impossible. I think it'll be the next Mission Impossible. He'll go up to the ISS.
It'll be
like this big thing and this big fanfare.
The big stunt that is the marketing campaign as well.
Yeah.
It's got a gigantic budget. Tom Cruise is admittedly seemingly superhuman. So, maybe we should look into the whole Scientology thing because it seems to be going pretty well for him.
Elon gets his life. Can't get rid of that middle tooth though.
Can't ever escape that.
The center tooth that he's got.
Center tooth.
Has he got a center tooth? He's got a center tooth.
Yeah, he's got like
do you
have any pictures of the center tooth for our viewing audience on Twitch?
Tom Cruise.
In the meantime, I will read this headline.
Please.
Fugitive caught after blowing his cover fart.
What?
Yeah, a wanted man who hid in bushes in an attempt to evade police blew his cover when he farted. Realizing officers on the set were closing in, The suspect had fled into woods near Harworth, Nottinghamshire. Oh, there's the middle tooth. Sorry to interrupt. That's the middle tooth. Right.
Oh, it is quite central.
So,
Holy
whereas
fuck, that's
filtering
weird
is
to
at the
look at.
It's like in line with the nose. It lines down with his nose. Perfectly.
Yeah. God, he looks quite old there, doesn't he? Jeez.
Wow. I mean, he's like.
That's actually probably an older photo.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently this dude's location remained a mystery until they heard a noise believed to be the sound of someone breaking wind. He was arrested alongside another suspect found hiding behind a fireplace in a nearby home.
Holy shit.
So literally, his fart got him arrested.
I've done that. I've done that before with airsoft.
He was hidden in the bush. What, you've been caught?
Like
Tying?
Not farting, but like mainly earlier back in the day when I used to go down to Southampton when I lived near that sort of way. It's a massive site. It's like a huge site, and you go out and like spend the whole day out on the site, and you pretty much like it's like all this forest down in the near Southampton, all these like sort of awesome forest. You're wandering through it, and you'll be crouched down in the bush, and you'll be like sweating like crazy because it's high summer. And you just really need a shit. And at one point, you just get out of the bush and hold your hands up and say, "Look, guys, please don't shoot me. I desperately need a shit." Like, I've been there before. There's something about the tension of being hunted that makes you want to shit yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Or just running around in general. We'll start shifting things around. You know. I find. Yeah, sorry. There's more pictures of the center tooth being shown, and they've got a line from the top of his head to the bottom of his chin, and his tooth is already in the middle. It always
goes right through the middle. So he had really bad teeth before he got into Hollywood, and then had them done.
And kept a middle tooth.
Yeah, it's all slightly off center.
It's not that noticeable without the line. Like it's okay. It's like over to the like his right hand tooth is over.
It's still straight teeth, so to speak.
Also, we're also picking on someone who does have it's still what you probably describe as a Hollywood smile.
Yeah.
I
mean,
someone
at the top of the game.
There are a lot more people with worse teeth.
Absolutely, and it's just poking fun, isn't it? Someone that's got everything.
How have any of you guys been so bored that you wanted to piss yourself?
Wanted to, or just
like
lazily let it out.
Well, you just you're bored, so you're just gonna just go ahead and piss yourself for entertainment.
For entertainment, no. Can't say
I think if I was left in a room for like months and months and months, eventually,
that would be a form of entertainment. Yeah, infinite monkeys and all that. I mean,
the
headline. Listen to this headline: people on social media are peeing in their pants on video because of lockdown boredom.
Fuck!
I can't imagine there's many. Surely there's a handful of people here. So, we've all heard of different social media challenges and trends. Some tend to be more bizarre than others, from eating glitter to making their poop sparkle and eating Tide Pods.
Oh my god!
The new trend here is the Pee Your Pants Challenge. And it refers to a social media trend where participants record themselves urinating into their pants. Of course, it looks like are they filmed on TikTok, or it is on TikTok? Of course, it is.
So, I think I saw.
So they're pissing in their pants. They're filming themselves in a mirror, and then just pissing in their shorts. That's the thing. Yeah,
I think it's really a really fucking great example of how shit some human beings are, that they cannot entertain themselves for any period of time, that they need to start pissing in their pants. Like, how fucking basic do you need to be that bored? Like, to do that? Like, I mean, it would take me literally years to get through all of the content and all of the things that you can do just by having a computer, the internet, and a TV. Like, there is so much.
Funny is, I don't even think it's just boredom though.
I think it's notoriety as well, right? It's like, I did
fans.
it. I bloody pissed myself and filmed it.
Well, when you hear the views, I mean, this guy got 340,000 views on his post, which is pretty good, really. He's being rewarded for pissing in his pants, and so I'm guessing other people are seeing that and going, "Wow, I'll give it a go as well." And then you form the weirdest trend of the year, which is pissing in your pants to pee your pants challenge. Should we do it?
I find it weird. I find it weird being a successful-ish YouTuber or an influencer in a world now where so many people so desperately want to be an influencer, like it's really fucking weird. Like the amount of people that are just like, I just got like 1,000 likes. I'm like, okay, what does it do? Like
what does that do to you?
Like, like it's kind of like so strange how obsessed people have become with the idea of whether it's for money or if it's for something that, like a job, then fair enough. Like I was watching a thing last night, selling nudes online or something, and it's basically about OnlyFans, and one of the top OnlyFans people is a British person, and she makes about 50 grand a month from OnlyFans, which is pretty impressive. But like, I get that. I get why people would want to like cultivate a following or like, you know, make people fall in love with them because they want to make money. But like when people are just like doing it for likes,
I think it's easy to come from that perspective when you've been through that, so to speak, and you've thus become jaded by the idea of it. I think that's the position you're in now, right?
I am not a jaded person. How dare you?
It's true.
There's no way.
Through you've had thousands of likes or something through different means, as in through,
I've had a lot of likes for us.
Through creative means. You haven't pissed your pants to get likes. You've done creative videos online, and that's caused notoriety, right? Not yet, of course. But like, there's a difference between someone doing something creative for no specific goal to gag, and someone who's like, shit, I'm going to go on this and I need to get likes. I need to do this, or go on. I'm going to start a Twitch and specifically need to get X amount of subscribers, otherwise I'm not going to do this. And it's just like removes the purpose of why you're doing it in the first place, right? I mean, I think people see through that.
We live and die by the views and the numbers and the likes and the sub numbers and shit like that, and it keeps us up at night sometimes, worrying about when is it going to go away or things like that. And I think it is based on the value of what we apply to those numbers. For example, if you made a masterpiece of an animation or whatever and you spent your years on it, those likes is validation that that work was good and that many people enjoyed it. But then it's kind of demoralizing when someone else has 100,000 likes for pissing themselves. So what does this number really mean?
And I think that's a very good point.
It's always sort of potentially dangerous putting the need for validation in anybody but yourself. Like, I know it's hard not to do it, and it's hard not to. It's a human thing to be concerned with other people's opinions, I think. But like, ultimately, it's just trying to learn not to put too much stock in other people's validation of you. But we have so many apps and so many things that kind of just encourage that. Like that's the only way of seeking validation, is to make sure that everybody knows what you're doing and are excited about it.
But this is the thing, when you compare what we do like online versus someone like Jake Paul or whatever, who is kind of embarrassing to be on the same platform with someone who's like that. However, that's being rewarded in much larger way than doing something good or doing something that's creative and amazing or whatever. You really can't compare the two, and you shouldn't. You should never compare the two, really. But I can see why people who are just starting out going, "Oh wow, that guy's being an asshole. That guy's filming people killing themselves. That's great fun. I'm going to do what they do. I'm going to piss my pants online." And it's just like, well, fuck. Like, that is the internet now, and we have to just accept that shit will happen.
Yeah.
But do you want to be known as the guy who pisses your pants on YouTube?
Unfortunately, the platforms that, like, they all share the same thing in common, right? They have this standardized method of showcasing popularity and enjoyment of a thing. And when it's normalized that Jake Paul has subscribers and a number next to subscribers and likes on a video, everything else is the same value on the same graph as that. So
it becomes part of that landscape.
So there is no individualization with that sort of thing. It's like, this art and animation piece has less likes than this guy in a forest in Japan, and they are valued at this with the same metric. And this one that took far less effort and was way more controversial, though, appealed to more people. So, you know, you lost that game of metrics, and the numbers go in that person's favor. So it makes you feel like shit, I think. It's not.
I can't tell if it's down to the
I wonder where you're going with that. I'm like, no, you're right.
Yeah, it's demoralizing when all you ever do is play by these numbers that YouTube's established, and for it to only be superseded by a fucking asshole, really, or something that took half the amount of time to make.
It's hard to say because obviously, like, you know, entertainment is I guess down to the person who wants to consume that. Yeah, so it's just like, well, you know, if lots of people are enjoying that, then there will be more of those assholes around, and you're not going to see the end of it. It's down to, I guess, the end user to be like, well, I'm not going to watch that content again and steer away from it. But it's like watching a car crash half the time. Some of these fucking, like the YouTube boxing fights, like I didn't give a shit about them really. I didn't care. But I watched the highlights of them just because it's like watching a car crash. You want to see what this fucking thing is all about. So I guess it's just
I wanted to see them get punched in the face, if I'm honest with you. Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people did.
I'd like to see someone beat the shit out of that guy.
There's something for everyone with that format.
I think the thing is, just to finish on that point of like, the landscape is what it is, and unfortunately it drags really good stuff and really bad stuff into the same world, and then they are judged as equals, which they aren't. But the problem is, I think, or the thing that irks me and makes me even more jaded is I think that culture and art are reflections of the society you're in, like, as in, like, you know, they represent the emotions, the morals, like the emotive elements of a group of people. And if culture and art currently is just putting assholes up on plinths constantly, it's a pretty fucking dim reflection, is all I'm saying. And whether or not that's coming from individuals, whether that's coming from apps or news companies pushing particular users or creators to make them popular, I don't know. But I just it's kind of shit that we were still revering these assholes. And where is this education and this influence coming from that makes individuals so likely to revere these people? Like, look at our world leaders, look at YouTubers, like everything, you know, can be broken down at each level. And it's just a bit strange that, like, I don't know, music is slightly different. And music remains somewhat immune to some of it, because I know, like, you know, it's like, oh man, I fucking hated UK grime. Like 10 years ago, I hated UK grime. Like now, I think there's a lot of really good UK grime artists. But like, it's a weird thing to get your head around. Like music, I guess, because of its rules, like, you know, because of its the maths behind music, and how like music has to be created to a certain standard to even make sense. Maybe it makes it a bit more impervious to it. But if you look at YouTube as like an alternative to music or an alternative to film, because it's bigger, you know, like the gaming market is bigger than both. Like, where is that coming from? What is the reflection of us that we're creating based on that media? Because in 100 years' time, people are probably going to be watching a Jake Paul video to see what the fuck was going on, and we're going to be like,
it's all part of essentially clickbait culture. And I don't know if clickbait culture is just literally destined to continue getting worse and worse and worse as companies lose revenue.
Exactly.
As people try to survive online, which is, you know, we're trying to survive online as well, you know, and, you know, we have used clickbait tactics in the past, and it does work, and it can work. But is that something that you want to be known for? I don't know. But people will be using it more and more, and I don't see an end to it at any point. If anything, it's just going to get worse. And I don't really know what to do about that, really. But that's just the reality we live in, I guess. And we just have to be careful what we click on.
For all. Basic income for all, more free time for everybody, 4-hour working days. Basic income for people, so they can actually do, like, this lockdown has hopefully shown people, and I hope they fucking remember that there is value in your own time. There is value in getting together in communities, like, digitally. There is value in doing something other than working and caring about each other. Like, there is so much value in what we're doing. So hopefully one day that clickbait culture, you're right, which is turning into this fucking swirling plug, this sort of black hole of, like you say, gig economies as well are a big part of this. So gig economies like delivery, fuck, I use it all the time. I hope these people are getting paid enough money to live their lives in a happy way, but I've got no fucking idea. They probably aren't. And so like, I think we need to get to the point where minimum basic income is really important, and like just more time for individuals to live and be humans. I think it's hopefully where we're going. That would be amazing.
And it would be good out of all of this that something good comes from it in some way. but
I
we'll
can't
see.
wait.
I get the
when
feeling that
we
everyone's
get-
just going to try and forget about it. Do you know what I mean?
Now we'll get UBI, right? We'll get universal basic income, and then everyone's got all the time in the world to make TikToks of them pissing themselves. Can't wait.
Yeah. Extra time, yeah. Wow, I don't need to work. I'm
That's what
pissing
we want.
myself.
So much
and I'm
value
actually
in
making
that.
money now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because I run Jake Paul could literally piss himself, and it probably would be one of his top viewed videos.
yeah.
That's and obviously that's just because he's already got a big audience, so it's just ballooned from that.
Yeah.
So that could be the next trend, guys.
And the whole movement's been
Ice bucket
validated
challenge.
because that
Ice
guy
bucket
that
challenge,
everyone looks up
2020.
to has done it. So, and then everyone else will do it. Ugh.
Yeah,
Anyway, we could go on for hours
It's
about
bucket challenge.
we could. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, but that's probably a whole other topic for another hat chat.
yeah.
Until then, we thank you all for your support. What was that? Oh, there's a Patreon available. Patreon.com/hatfilms. Thank you very much. To all our supporters, you will be credited at the end of the video, which is on our YouTube channel, Hat Chat Podcast. Just search for that on YouTube. We're popular enough for that to come up instantly. So validate us by clicking on that and subscribing. And you can see all the visuals that came along with it, like Tom Cruise's middle tooth and such incredible things like that. And your own name in the Patreon credits at the end of the video. Or
We're going to be able to title this podcast "We Pissed Ourselves for Views" now, or something like that.
I think we can.
Maybe either that or I forgot that I pissed myself to tie in the memory stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, that's nice.
So it's kind of like I forgot I posted that video of me pissing myself. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find something snappy.
We'll find something. But if you are also bored at home and doing nothing, and you're as talented at music making as Jukka Päivänen, who is definitely going to hate that pronunciation, feel free to send a fingal into our email, which is, what's that? hatchat@hat-films.com. We love your fingals, especially when they're good and not shit. So please send them in.
You've got time to make them good.
To jazz them up. It's a good little practice if you're working on music production right now.
Isolation project.
It's a goal. It's a little mini goal for you. Make a fingal for us. Thank you, and we'll see you all in the next Hat Chat.
Indeed. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
2 weeks time.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.